to address that. Hey, we're live today. We're doing an interview with Shad Rhoades here, part of the Nerd Rat team. If you're watching this, stay tuned. We're going to go through some stuff. If you're out there and you see us pop up, share us with your friends. We're going to talk movies today. We're going to talk about where Shad came from, if he came from the Middle Earth team, or if he was born in... I just forgot the name of your hometown. What's the name?
Yuma.
Yuma, for he was born in Yuma. We'll find out in this next podcast stream.
Hoth. I'm from Hoth.
If you're from Hoth, actually.
It's very warm here, during winter.
Yeah, even during winter. It's actually not too bad. Yeah, so Sean and I just did some recording today. Sean's been working on some prop videos for y'all out there just tuned in. We want to hear some new stuff. We're trying to get a new series going called Deep Dive, where we dive in a little bit further into some of our music video stuff that we've been doing because we're super knowledgeable on it. But today we are going to be talking less music videos. Shad was definitely part of it, but more of our short film series and kind of go into that world. So stay tuned, guys, and we're going to get rolling here in just a second in our actual podcast.
Okay,
are you good?
Everything's running.
All right.
Nope. One second.
I'm going to start recording on this thing. You think I said go out to the world?
Should have, yeah.
Well, world, we're here to talk and talk again.
One downside is I can't change the settings now that we're actually streaming.
What do you need to change?
Where the recording goes to.
Oh, because you need to go to like a hard drive, probably.
Well, the path is no longer there. I must have. So we're gonna go ahead and stop the stream.
We're gonna stop the stream and we'll be right back.
I hope you enjoyed today's episode.
Thanks, man.
Damn, bless you.
Okay. That is the start of the
hey! Just blowing my nose.
Yo, we're doing fine here on the podcast. We're gonna rate sneezes today,
Yeah.
Jesse. That was a solid 7.
Yeah. I've heard you throw a 10 up, and so we're going to need to see that. Okay. Did you restart it?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. We can roll on that.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. Hey, we're back, guys. Again, we're here. We're going to be doing some podcast recording. We're doing these in the evening now, so you guys have a chance to tune in. Today we got Shad Rhoades on the cast. We're going to be talking Nerd Rat stuff. We're going to be talking about films, and we're going to be rolling here in a second. Sean, you want to add to that at all?
Nope.
Yeah.
I'm shy.
Didn't think so. Anyway, here we go, guys. You guys ready to start rolling here?
Yep.
Get into it? Okay. What episode are we on? Is this 7, 8, 11, 12? It doesn't even matter, does it? Here we go.
Because it could also be like mixed in.
Yeah, it could be episode 47 for all we know. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Rat's Nest. I am Jesse.
I'm Sean.
And today we've got Shad on the cast, who... Little do you know, or maybe you do if you've been stalking us, but Shad has been part of this team basically since in the Shed days, which we've mentioned in previous podcasts. So today we're going to go over what Shad has gone through with the madness that is the filmmaking process on his end, what he's doing to kind of team up with us, and where he sees us going to the future. So, hey, man.
Hello, Jesse Nyander.
Yeah.
Hold on, right?
Yeah,
What's
right.
up? All right.
So,
Great.
so this crew of goofballs have been around for a while. We got some footage up on Facebook and everything of us like taking pictures on the beach and Laguna when we were doing stuff for V-Song, which you guys have heard about. But Shad, tell us how this all started. Who did you meet first? Was it Sean? Was it Jesse? Was it even Barrett? Like, where were you in the world where we all came together? Run us how you came to where we are today.
So I guess I'll go back a little bit further than that. I worked at a call center that I won't name by name because I don't think it's still around anymore. And I met a couple of people there who were kind of like into film and kind of I'd been dabbling in like writing shorts, and I met a couple people and they were like, "Hey, we should get a camera and just make stuff that entertains us." So that's kind of what we did with the goal of eventually making like a short. And then during that time, this guy worked there as well. So I got introduced to him God, this was like 2010, so it's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while.
It's been a while.
Ancient history, y'all.
Ancient history.
Some of us were still functioning like in our mid-20s, early 30s in 2010. So.
And so I met Jesse, and I think the first video that we ever worked on was a video for a band called the Honeygetters from Fort Collins.
Yeah, I brought that up to Sean in the last cast. I couldn't remember if he'd worked on it with us, but you and I teamed up on that.
Yeah, it was me and you.
How did we get to that point? Do you remember?
Cause I knew the Honeygetters because I was friends with a couple of them, and they were looking to shoot a music video. And after you and I had met and talked a couple times, and I think you met one of our mutual friends because if I remember correctly, he was reading something I was writing, and you saw it, and you guys started asking about what was going on.
Was this Matt?
Yes.
Yeah, so Matt Tellis. Yeah, that's part of the history too. Matt Tellis. That's a time period too.
And then you started talking about Walking Dead because you had all the comic books, and we started talking about comic books and movies. And
shout out to my boy Andrew. He gave me the whole series, and we'd read them in between calls whenever we wait for calls coming in. Anyways,
I didn't really read any of them because I didn't really get into comic books at that point, but it kind of made me realize that I had met somebody that I thought was real creative, and you started talking about making movies in high school and beyond, and all the stuff that you were doing before you moved to Fort Collins. And so we kind of hit it off real well, and I think I told you that I was looking to shoot a music video with the Honeygetters. And it was kind of the first real music video that I had ever shot. And I said, I don't know what I'm doing. And you obviously have done a bunch of stuff like this before. So that's kind of what put me on the path with you. And how I met Sean was through another mutual friend, Barrett. And he got introduced to me through another friend that I had. Actually, it was a Honeygetter.
Shad has a lot of friends.
And then... that's how I met Barrett. Through Barrett, I met Sean. And I'm not exactly sure on the history, but somehow you knew them as well, which was wild. So, like, Jesse had met them as well. So we all kind of, like, were like, holy, what the hell? It was kind of one of those things where just, like, groups meet each other, and then we meet each other through other groups that we were in. But yeah, that was the first music video we did, and it was really funny, and it was a good time. And we started making some other music videos after that. I think the next one we did was for Aaron Cookman.
That's another one. Well, wait, hold on. I think there was a shipwreck video in there.
That was after.
That was after? That was after the Aaron video?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we shot Aaron's video. And
we gotta pull up footage of that. That was us like figuring out how to do like neo noir lighting and stuff. Yeah, you were part of that, right? Yeah. We were all just learning how to do better black and white stuff.
Yeah. I literally, and this was when I knew that I wanted to keep working with you guys, because Aaron asked me if I wanted to come on and direct. I'm not really a director. I do it by necessity when I do it because I don't know anybody else who can. And I literally was like, we were there on set, and I was explaining to Sean and Jesse a shot that I had in my head of like light coming through like some off-screen window that didn't exist through blinds, so I could get those real stark lines. And somebody like ran to Home Depot and bought like a cheap blind. And then you guys just went in the corner for like 10 minutes and messed around with stuff.
Yeah, that's right, we did.
And you
were
got
like hanging
to
from
look.
the seats. We were like hanging on the seats there. We're like, okay, how far are we to hang that? We Sean and I were like fiddling around the corner. Yeah, dude, I remember that.
And they were like, what do you think about this? And we put Erin in the shot, and the blinds were like going across her face, like exactly how I saw it in my mind. And I think that was the moment where I was like, these guys know what they're doing. And if they don't, they will figure it out.
We were faking it for sure.
Oh yeah, dude, it was a fake. But like, also it's just like we wanted it to be good, so it's like, oh shit, we're gonna figure this out, and we did. And that's how it came out.
Yeah, and then we made a couple other music videos after that. We did one for The Coast Is Ours.
That's what we were talking about last time. We was like an overproduction, like so much production,
so
like
much production,
$200 or whatever. Shoot.
But like we had access to a bunch of like lights. What do you call those lights that are on the?
They're Apollo, like
Apollo
LEDs.
Yeah. And Sean kind of came up with the idea of like, what if we just have these all in the background, just flashing as they're playing when we do their like performance stuff. and it looked really freaking awesome. We got some really good shots, and we had like a
Sorry, I mean, we made all the custom like filters.
yeah,
That
and we were
flashed
scratching
inside,
them to make the lights bleed out
Yeah.
and beam.
So each band member had their own filter that
Yes.
we used, and we never reused it for each other. Yeah, I thought that was
That
kind of a fun.
that was super cool. And then that video turned out really well as well. And then the last video I think we shot before we kind of stopped making music videos for a minute was the what was the band's name that you just said?
Shipwreck.
Chasing Addiction.
Chasing Addiction.
Yeah. And that was a fun video too, because I just remember there was this like old decrepit barn that the owner told us probably don't go into, and we just did anyway.
We need to.
We need to,
That
because
is
it
the
was
location.
such a cool location, and the band was all down for it, and so we went, and I remember Jesse standing on a ladder, hanging lights. Like, what? I don't even know what you use to like pull across, to, like hang, like drape the lights over.
It was just like what you'd go to buy at like a Ace Hardware or something, where you just get like drop lights or like 3 or 4 lights that run off like some kind of daisy chain system for like a Christmas tree.
And the lighting looked so awesome, but the shot that will always stick in my mind from that music video is we went out to the middle of the field and we had this big giant generator and we had this big ass spotlight that would circle, and so we had
Did
at
we
night
end up using any of that
yeah
footage?
we did, we used it, and so there's just footage of this dude standing in the middle of the field with a big ass spotlight circling, and it would like come across his face and stuff like as he was singing, but that was kind of the first few projects that I worked with you guys. And then we kind of went our own separate ways for a while. And then we came back because I believe it was like 2001 or 2. You were
Wait,
doing...
2001?
I mean 20. I'm
Damn,
sorry,
bro.
2020
We are old.
or 2021 or
24 years
22.
ago. Yeah.
Jesse hit me up and said he was running a filmmakers group down at the Lyric Cinema. So I just started showing up there. And you guys asked me if I wanted to come work on a couple projects with you, and we kind of sat in a room for like a couple months at a time just bouncing ideas off each other, and some of those things came to fruition.
Well,
So-
let's talk about some of those things. So this was like, we're talking about the stuff we did last like year or two.
yeah, like 2022, 2023.
So we were on a mission. We were on a mission for that, to try to see what we could make and just kind of write scripts and just kind of do things quickly and not like worry about production and get things done. That was the goal of those. So and there's a few of those that we actually got shot and some we didn't quite finish. So let's talk about the ones that we got shot. Like, which ones do you remember specifically?
I remember, I don't remember the name of it now because we changed it a couple times, but the Mind one with the
Kinesis.
Kinesis, yeah.
yes.
We ended up with, yeah.
Yeah.
So I remember shooting that one because we had like somebody came in and did, was that Tina who did like the blood work?
Yes, it
effects?
was. Yes, it was. It was Tina.
Uh,
Not sure if you're out there. Not sure usually tunes in and writes some stuff.
So that was the first time that I met Tina, and I think that one was not, I think because we were just trying to get back in the groove of things. I think, and my writing was not very good. I'll be honest with you on that one, but it gave us the drive to know that we did and completed a project we wanted to continue doing that. So the other one that it's just so stupid, but the balloon one we shot in like an hour. And it was just this 30-second short of Jesse bopping a balloon up in the air. And then I walked through the door, and I'm like, how long have you been doing that? And he's like, 6 weeks? And then he like pops the balloon over to me, and I start bouncing it, and I pop it back. And then I just like improvised a line that made Sean laugh when I said it, so we had to do it a couple of different times. But it was just such a silly, stupid little thing that was just so funny, and it made it into a showcase as well, and it got a laugh of us popping the balloon back and forth. It's just such a silly, simple idea, but it worked, and it got laughs.
Yeah, and that was like a readjustment, because we went from like doing a high production thing where we were trying to do a bunch of stuff, and then we realized that if we just know our timing. We can do something else. So what did we do after that?
That was when we did the Thin Yellow Line.
Yeah, let's talk about that one. That was a 3-parter. We worked our butts off for
We
that
did.
one.
Yeah, it was a long weekend.
It was
weekend.
an awesome
Hot
weekend.
Yeah. Yeah, we had a lot of people involved with that one. Too.
Yeah. So I think Jesse just came up with this like one night where we were just throwing out ideas for fun. He mentioned something about like, you know, what if like somebody like touches the police tape and somebody else like stops him, and then you just would cut to a shot of him like all tangled up. And I had kind of started thinking about that a little bit when we were talking about it, and I was like, dude, that could be like a short. And in my head I started coming up with like just all these different characters that could pop in and out of this world. And my big contribution to that idea was like, what if you just follow the tape guy for a day and you see what that guy, you know, the guy who like lifts the tape for the detectives when they go under the do not cross tape?
It's such a, so let me echo that too. Yeah, no. So the thing is, y'all, there's been so many movies. If you watch a million movies like we do, there's so many movies, so many serious TV shows where you got the police. It's like for some reason they have the trope of the guy lifting
the tape.
It's just part of it. Like they got to open it for. It just made me go like, why does that exist? And what got me is there's this movie called Traitor starring Don Cheadle. So he started that, and there was a moment where there wasn't a guy at the police tape line. And they went in themselves, and I go, "Uh-oh." So where's the police guy? Like, why is this guy even a purpose? Can he be replaced with a bucket of sand? Got my wheels turning. And I brought it up to Shad, and we just started jamming on it. We ended up coming up with what you see now, which is the Thin Yellow Line. So
yeah, so that was a really fun project. I guess I'll just say now that like I'm the third person on the Nerd Rap Media website. I do a lot of the actual like screenwriting for the shorts.
we're like screenwriting. I'm just kidding.
But what I like about working with you guys is that we can bounce all these crazy ideas off, and when we hit on something funny that we're all laughing at, we can all come up with these crazy ideas, and we like write down all the good stuff, and then I trust these guys enough to know that whatever ends up in the finished project is going to be the best thing for that project. And these guys, I think, trust me enough to know that when we have an idea, I can take that and put it into like an actual script that's like readable, you know, and it's not just like words on a page. And what I appreciate.
Pause for an echo of live.
I want to make sure it's actually going.
Okay.
Yeah, it is.
Gotcha.
Perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Well, here for a moment here. Excuse me, guys.
So it leaks a lot over here.
Yeah, I'm dying because I'm drowning my own saliva. All right. Keep going, Shad.
Okay. But what I like about working with you guys is that when we're collectively coming up with ideas for a short, you guys trust me enough to know that I'm going to be able to put that into script form, and you guys have always been cool enough to let me like put my own spin on things in the writing process.
We also go back and forth a little bit, trying to figure out what works best. But it's not like we're just, yes or noing guys. We're like, sorry, Shad, we're gonna let's think about this. Is this shot gonna work? No. It's more like, do we have the time for it? Are we gonna be able to pull it off? Which is the dance of the writing team, the director team, and the cinematography team. That's just how it works.
Yeah, but I don't know. I've always just appreciated the fact that you guys will let me kind of put my own spin on things. Whether that ends up in the final or not, that's a whole other thing we can talk about. But and I feel like that too when we do music videos, I do a lot of the AD stuff. So like I'm keeping track of people, I'm keeping track of time, I make sure we get all the shots that we need. And but even when I'm doing that, these guys are open enough to where I'll be like, hey Sean, this would be maybe a cool idea for a shot. And then if we have time, Sean will actually shoot it and just to see what it looks like. And sometimes that'll end up in the final thing and sometimes not. But Just the fact that you guys let me be like open and throw out ideas, maybe just as like a third set of eyes of like, what if we try this or do something like whatever. And you guys have always been really very open to listening to ideas and trying to figure out like that might work, or I don't think that'll work, or we're running out of time, or whatever. But you guys always listen to me, so I appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, it's part of our process. Like, we've always been open to ideas and stuff. And I'm sure once there's a budget that we're making sure we're managing on, we've got to like cut things in the pre-production.
Have more than one day of shooting.
More than one day of shooting.
We can do more.
Yeah, or do just like 3 to 6 months to a year of pre-production planning for something. Just how much we could get done in like 10 days or something. But that's the idea, is that the whole thing, filmmaking takes a village to make a film. So whenever we're working with each other, there is no way that everyone's going to be on the same page unless you communicate about it.
Yeah.
So some of that communication is like figuring out what works on set, what doesn't work in the writing room, what doesn't work in pre-production, what doesn't work in the edit bay. There's a bunch of don'ts. That always happens. Like, that didn't work. So it's gotten to the point now where like half the time, if there's something that doesn't work, and I think you guys can attest to this, we'll go, what are like 2 to 3 ways that we can pull it off that are either like, okay, we're going to have to go into the edit bay and After Effects and do something amazing for this, or we're going to do it on set and make it look as real as we can, or the third is a combination of the two, or we just dump it as the fourth option. We can't, it just looks so bad, or it just doesn't work, or it's just too cheesy or whatever. But that right there is years and years of practice of us doing this in trial and error. And one of the reasons why we enjoy working with you, or I enjoy working with you specifically, is because you and I mean, audience, like, the truth be told, Shad and I have headbutted on a lot of things because we are both growing in the right direction. Like, what does it mean to be a filmmaker? And it's like, this isn't working, or this is working, or I want to try this, or I don't want to try this. And then we have to come to an agreement, because if we don't, the film dies. Like,
Yeah.
You have to do it. So making a film takes a village, and it takes a village of people that you like, don't like, work well with, don't work well with, figuring out how to make something come out of the end of that isn't just a throwaway thing that no one's going to want to watch again. So that's why we work so well together, is that training, that practice that we've put in the years on and stuff like that. So like going into this and doing the short films and stuff like that, Shad, like, I know that this is also, and we don't need to go into too many crazy details because it might be for the members only out there. Let's talk about some of the stuff that you're excited about that you've, like, even like in your feature realm. Like, I'm going to drop the flop right now. Like, the flop's a big one that you and I have
Drop the flop.
we're flopping and dropping.
Flop.
Drop the flop. Like, talk about kind of the, like, where, like, with flop, use that as a transition to talk about, like, where you see your career in this realm going if you were to be able to do exactly what you wanted to do.
Oh man, okay. So to talk about that, I'm gonna take you back to my high school days. real quick.
When I was in the womb.
So my buddy and I in high school, Josh, we would just take the camera on the weekends and just go film shit that would make things that would make us laugh. And that's kind of where I got my like my basis for like my sense of humor, and that's carried with me through the rest of my entire life. Like, I love laughing. I love seeing something hilarious on the screen. I love being able to do something that will make other people laugh. So that's kind of like my basis for when I'm writing things. And a lot of times I will write comedy because I feel like that's what I love doing the most, but I feel like it's also like my wheelhouse, if that makes sense. So I started writing comedic shorts years and years ago, and of course, nobody will ever see those.
Unless we show them here.
Pull it up.
Yeah, pull them up right now. Freeze the video.
But this is, again, we're going back to like 2011 or 12, and I had this idea in my head for a script called Deadbeats, where it's just about two guys who are working at a what would you call it, a paper factory where they like make toilet paper and paper towel and things like that, who somehow just through a crazy series of events get mixed into this drug ring, and then it gets like crazier and crazier for them. But I really was calling back to like movies from the 90s, like the buddy comedies that you just don't see anymore, you know? Kind of like Blue Streak a little bit, but like more vulgar. Dumb and Dumber is one of my favorite comedies. I love Something About Mary. I like what The Lonely Island does. So I kind of wanted to tap into that with Deadbeats, and I spent literally years writing that screenplay to a point where it was good enough to like show people and submit to screenplay competitions and things like that. And I got really good feedback from Screencraft, and so that made me really want to kind of write more comedy. As far as the shorts that we do, most of the shorts that we've done have just been from us in a room, and somebody will say something that will make the other two laugh, and then we'll just keep piling on jokes, and we'll just keep adding to the conversation. And like with Thin Blue Line, it was one of the Thin Yellow. I'm sorry.
No,
Thin
no,
Blue Line.
That's a Jamie Lee Curtis film from like 1987 or something. I don't know.
But yeah, it was one of those things where it was just that, and we just kept piling on jokes and coming up with sight gags and lines of dialogue and character traits and things like that. And so that was one of the funner projects that I got to work on for short films, just because it did come from this insane, crazy idea where we were just bouncing things off of each other. Yeah, so I love comedies. And so no, it's gonna sound like, yeah, okay, I'm gonna be an egotistical person for a second here, but when I submitted Deadbeats to Screencraft, one of the feedback pages that I got that I will never forget.
Hold on.
Okay.
Pause.
You can continue.
Okay. But one of the feedback lines that I got from the person who was reading my script said, and I quote, "A treasure trove," is the words he used, of comedic dialogue on each page. So I kind of really pride myself on being able to write funny dialogue, I guess, is my strength as a writer.
Cool. Here, pause for a second.
Yeah.
I think that we might about to be running out of time on that.
Okay.
On that thing. So we'll wait for Sean to come back. We have 25 minutes on those before it stops recording.
It's technically like 30, but it doesn't really matter now because we have the screen recording.
Okay, cool.
But at like 30, I'll just start the cam again.
So we are like 25 right now. So this
Okay.
was
Yeah.
Cool.
And I have these timers going too.
Oh, sweet. You got something going on. Okay.
Yeah, Francis is just getting home, so
I have a feeling.
we have to.
Okay, cool. So, get back into it here. Give me a second. So what we're getting to, Shad, is that you have been working a long time to kind of like, hone your craft and be able to possibly get to a point that we can actually do features and stuff like that. So yeah, continue with that.
Yeah. And then I wrote a horror comedy a couple years ago as well that is still in progress. And then the latest one that I wrote is a screenplay called The Flop. And it was based off of something that really happened. My friend that I work with was filling out the form for her kid to play soccer, and she was kind of like being distracted, and she was like talking to her kids, and she's filling out. She flipped the page over, and she's like, "Why am I filling out the exact same information on the other side?" She gives it to her kid turns it in. 2 days later, she gets a call from the association, the soccer association, thanking her for volunteering to be a coach. She accidentally filled out the second half of the page that was volunteer coaching without realizing she was doing it. She had never played soccer a day in her life, so she had to learn over the course of the weekend the soccer basics so that she could teach the kids the coming week. And that idea just stuck with me for like weeks. I couldn't get that out of my mind of how funny of a concept that would be to just accidentally become something. And so I wrote that, and I probably wrote on that for probably a good year almost before I started getting feedback from this guy. Was a huge part of crafting that script and making it as good as it was, because I got it to a point where I was comfortable with showing people. And so the first person that I sent it to is my buddy Ryan, who he's not a filmmaker at all. He doesn't do this kind of stuff. But when I send him stuff, he will read it and just tell me if it's funny. Like, this is good, this is worth pursuing. And he's very honest with me. And if I send him something and he's like, yeah, it's not for me, that's his nice way of saying that's not any good. So I'm like, okay, maybe I need to either rework it or scrap it. But he sent me some feedback, and he was like, and it was just like a third or fourth draft at that point, and he was like, this is a really solid idea, and it's really funny. So I spent a long time rewriting. And I think the first time that I mentioned it to you guys was we were at a meeting for another project, and I had written like 3 or 4 pages, and I just said, hey, can you guys look at something and just tell me if this is like worth pursuing? And they read it, and they both said it was funny. They both kind of laughed at it. So, but then I got it to a point where I was ready to show somebody who was actually in the craft of filmmaking, which was Jesse. And this dude got on a plane and read my script front to back. And not only did he read it front to back, but you said you read it twice.
Yep.
And he had breakdowns on every single scene in that script. And that's what you want for feedback. Like, so many times you'll send somebody something to read and they'll just be like, yeah, it was good. And like, they don't really give you feedback. And on the other end, sometimes, like, I had somebody send me a script once and I started giving him feedback, and this person just told me that I didn't understand what they were doing, and I literally never talked to him again after that. It was like, wow, dude, like, he got real offended. But when you're getting feedback, I think honesty is important, because there were things that I was legitimately missing from that script that you helped bring to light of like, okay, I'm missing these beats. There's things in there that need to be fixed. And you were even giving me lines of dialogue that ended up in the final script. Like, you're like, oh, it'd be funny here if Tina said this. Tina's the main character. But, like, you gave me, like, real feedback that I knew that I needed to make the script stronger. So, yeah.
I mean, that's a perfect thing to kind of wrap up the episode on for this here is... This is our process. This is how we try to make things. This is how we work together. The reason that you have trust in me is because you know I'm not going to like just beat around the bush. I'm able to give you that feedback, which you're getting to the end of like this script. And are you submitting it yet?
Yeah, I've submitted it a couple times. Cool. I've gotten around to feedback, which was really good. I did another rewrite, and I submitted again, which I should hear back from in like June. Exactly.
Well, hey, let's call it for this episode here. But I wanted to say that Shad's been with us for a while here, and we've been trying to like work our way uphill to like do some creative stuff. He's been working his butt off, and I want him to give you guys a feedback. I want you to give him some history on Shad so you all know where he came from and where we're going with it. And we're going to kind of nerd out on some stuff here in the next episode with Shad.
Also, thank you for for becoming our first channel member.
Hey, we got our first not sure is definitely sure about being a channel member. So that works out great. All right, y'all, we're going to break a break here. We're going to come back for our second podcast of the night, and then members only, we're cutting it off for that. So this is the last chance for you to tune in. Share, like, subscribe. Thanks for being here. Cut it.
Cut it there.
All right. Cool. Was that any good?
Oh, yeah,
was
for sure.
Good?
No.
Sometimes I talk and I don't know if I'm over talking or not giving enough information.
Yeah, ask the chat, see if they tell you. But mostly, no, that's the whole point. Is like also too is like what we're trying to do is keep it surface level. So whenever we're having these conversations, like we don't want to go too deep divey because then that's what our members want. Like I want to hear more about that, and then we go like top to bottom in the members podcast. Like, all right, so this is the breakdown of the script. This is what we're doing, you know. So you didn't necessarily go in there, but. So, anyways, I'm just bathroom real quick, guys, and we can go on to the next one.
I still have to figure out how to do like members only streams. I know there's a way to do it, but I have no idea how to do that yet. But yeah, it's exciting. First member. Yeah, I'm still trying to like relearn all the streaming stuff because I got really into it for like the gaming channel and then just didn't for like a couple of years, and now it's like everything has changed so much that I'm like trying to like and I only work with it while we're live, so I'm like trying to figure it out live. Oh, thank you. Yeah, one thing I've been trying to work on is the lighting and the fact that we aren't using the laptop anymore. We have my little streaming camera. That helps a lot. But it looks really good on the main camera, so that's nice. Yeah, we we realized that I only have 2 stools, and so this one's like a standing podcast, so we're constantly changing the framing, but it's just kind of awkward just to stand here, so it's a lot of leaning. But yeah, I'm excited. I want to open the window though.
Okay.
Hopefully the dog doesn't bark anymore, but it is toasty. Phew. Yeah, I am sweating. I think it's supposed to, like, this laptop feel like right here.
Oh, damn.
it's hot. She hot. Yeah, I need to, I'll do some research on members only stuff. Or, yeah, we're going to do one more episode if you wanted to stick around for that, Tina, if you wanted to. But if you're taking off too, that's also cool.
What's up, Tina?
Jesse's been leaking quite a bit from his nose today, and he's not in the room to take your call right now. I'm actually going to be right back as well. I'm going to grab another beer. Ah. Tina's trying to call you. Hi. Want to put that down? 2 to go. Huh? Yeah. We got one more for everybody, and then we're doing like the members only one
Escalator?
as well. I'll leave that door open for a second. Cannot wait until we have a studio that has some kind of AC. Yeah, I don't know if Jesse's brought it up, but like we've kind of found some like warehouse spaces for like in the $600 ish a month. So it's like $7,000 a year. And we're like, well, we're already paying about $200 a month for the storage unit. So it's not that far off to have a warehouse that we can actually shoot in and like build stuff and have a props house and like, or sections of, you know, it's a small space, but definitely bigger than this space. It would be so cool to have like, yeah, like a little, this is the podcast corner, this is like the props corner, this is like the editing bays. As much as I love like editing from home, I think it would be nice that we can go somewhere together and like get some shit done.
All right. Ooh, yeah.
Just Tina, as usual. Beanzo's just dropped the ball now. He hasn't come to the last 2 streams, so.
He'll be here.
But Tina became our first channel member. Became a Pinky. I tried to do rat-themed membership tiers. So Pinky's a baby rat.
Baby rat.
And they're blind and
they're
hairless.
blind and hairless. They're delicious. The most delicious part.
So that's the intro level is the Pinky.
Okie dokie, gang. Let me just stop this here. Reset.
Good to roll.
Yeah, I'm good to roll. I know what we're gonna talk about. All right, Miller, you in here? Come on, pup. We gotta go. There you go.
I attempt to leave the window open to get some kind of a breeze in here, but
Unless there's like some low-flying helicopters,
Yeah.
dog pilots apparently.
Dogs on biplanes.
Classic dog antics. Hit it. Yep. Ready?
rolling.
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 All right, stand by.
Start recording on here too.
The old extra record. Back up.
I tried to get like a hair off of the pad, and I pressed the button so it stopped recording for like a second in that first one. So
Whatever.
But the
Burn
screen
it.
is there, but yeah, the recording will have a little tiny gap of audio that we'll have to fill with that mic. But
That's okay.
growing pains.
You have a giant hair on your shirt, by the way. There you
That
go.
is it.
It's Brittany's.
Oh, I'm sorry.
He
I
got
get
some on your shirt.
confused.
You're gonna give me one of these.
It's before she got all her hair off.
Yeah, right. All right, gang. Here we go. Let's get into the second one. Hey, y'all. Welcome back to the Rat's Nest. I'm Jesse,
I'm Sean.
and this is
Shad.
We Are All Here. We're all kicking it. If you're not familiar with Shad, Shad's been around for a minute. He's just now shown up on the podcast. Sean and
Took him long
I,
enough.
yeah, where the hell's he been? Sean and I have been just kind of putting these things up, kind of rolling with it. We finally were able to get Shad on, who is a big player in the Nerd Rat game. Just quick brief, Shad, tell him a little bit about what you've been doing with us.
So when we do shorts, I'm mainly the head script writer, and when we do music videos, I step on and serve as the AD.
There you go. See? Super easy. And that whole time that he does that, I go and take a nap because that's what I do. Right, guys? Right? I'm not insane, right? Okay. Anyways, today we are going to talk about something that I think we could all basically get lost on at any moment. Let's just talk about some movies that are coming up, we're excited about, maybe some movies that are in theaters right now or going out of theaters. And I'm going to go ahead and start this off because you guys know who Tim Robinson is, right?
Yes.
You know, have you seen this trailer
Friendship?
for Friendship?
You told me about it, but I haven't actually
You
seen the
haven't seen
trailer
it?
yet.
What about you,
No.
Sean? You seen the
I'm
trailer?
purposely avoiding it because I know I'm going to love it.
Yeah, I know it's gonna be a good one. I don't know. I was trying to get us rolling in that direction. You guys haven't seen this thing, Friendship. I mean, Tim Robinson, Paul Rudd. I mean, what else can you say?
Yeah,
about
what
this
a
thing?
strange
I mean,
combo.
what a strange combo. And it's Tim Robinson cranking it up 15 notches. I can't wait for it. I mean, I just tried to throw it down, guys, and they have no idea what I'm talking about. So I'm going to toss it to Sean. Sean, tell me about a movie that's coming out right now
I mean,
that you're excited about.
I'm excited about Mickey 17.
Mickey 17!
I saw it and I
You
have some
saw it?
thoughts.
Oh, we haven't seen it yet.
I
Sean
won't-
and
I won't
Sean and I are
spoil
thinking
it,
about going to see it
but-
together.
We have to, yeah.
Yeah, we have to. Now that Shad's like, I got some thoughts.
We can hold
Oh,
hands and skip all
yeah, we do. We will. I'll be there. I'll be old Robbie.
But that's one, like, in terms of movies coming out that I'm very excited about. But movies that I've seen recently that I truly loved was Flow. And I know we
Flow.
kind of
Have you
talked
seen
about that
Flow?
a
I
little
haven't
bit.
seen Flow.
Have you not seen it either?
I haven't seen it yet. I actually looked up where it's at, and I found out that they have it on YouTube, and I'm about to
Okay.
subscribe
Yeah.
just to like do
If
it.
anything, come over. We can watch it.
Just watch it on.
Yeah. One out against Disney, Pixar, all that kind of stuff. But it was a guy with a small team,
Small team.
but over the course of like 8 years, developed this animated feature film in Blender, free open source software, and I guess a lot of it in a talk that he did at like the Blender conference. He did a lot of it on a laptop.
Yeah.
Like by himself.
So no
And won
excuses.
the Oscar, so it's like, but it's just like super painterly. It's super beautiful. Not a lick of dialogue the entire time, but it tells such a beautiful story about like a cat and a capybara and a stork and a lemur all surviving on a boat during a flood. And it's like,
Wow.
it's gorgeous, and I had so much fun watching it. But yeah, it's funny that we've picked movies that
No one's seen. All right, so we gotta play this game now. We gotta figure out which movie we've all seen. Have we all seen Nosferatu?
No.
Nope.
Dang it. Okay.
One that I do really want to see.
Really
but
wanna
it's
see, right?
Still like for rent on all streamers right now.
Oh, it is
I'm
exactly
waiting for it
right.
to come
It's
out.
on Peacock right now.
Oh, it's
It
on.
just
It's on
dropped.
Peacock. See,
Yeah, it just
but
came
I
out
don't have
on
Netflix,
Peacock.
but I do have access to Peacock, so maybe we gotta
I have
team
like
up on that.
Netflix, HBO, Disney, and Hulu, but not Peacock.
Right.
And like there's so many good things coming out on Peacock now.
Bro, you guys just got to collect physical media for the rest of your life, like me, like 5,000 in.
We need more members so we can afford subscriptions.
When we get members, we will do movie reviews weekly on stuff because we have the mums do that. But we did do a movie review for Steven Soderbergh a year ago, basically, for, what is it, Schizopolis?
Yeah.
He has 2 movies coming out this year. I haven't seen any of them. But one is the ghost story one, where it's like all the movies shot from the ghost's perspective.
Presence? Is that what it's
I
called?
think it's called Presence. But he's also got Black Bag, the one with...
Yeah, I saw that trailer.
Yeah, with... oh, man, what's his name? Fassbender. It's Fassbender and what's her name? Kate Blanchett, right?
I don't remember now.
Come on, guys! Have we ever watched movies? Okay. All right, so that was my test. Okay, what movies has everybody actually seen? I mean, do we got to go back? I mean, this is an example that I got to point out to y'all out there. We are not the Oscar seekers. We don't watch every brand new movie of that year. Honestly, just to have a discussion about it, how I determine if I want to watch a movie that's new, I will just straight up like look up like how well it's doing years later. Like it might even be come back to around like, hey man, that movie that came out 3 years later is still taking its rounds as being really good. So then I might go watch it. I have no desire to be the first at the front lines to be like, this is good or this is bad. I'm not the critic of the world. I mean, what do you guys feel about that? Like, what do you seek about?
I probably go to the movies. I'd say probably once a month.
Once a month?
Yeah.
Loser.
I mean, at the theater. Sometimes though, I will actually take a trip to Alamo Drafthouse in Westminster. Yeah, because that's the best movie theater experience I've ever had.
Well,
like, it's hands down.
I'm about to throw this at you then. You're talking about the Westminster one, but what about that does great for like all the aesthetics where they do like the trailers in front of it and everything like that. What about the IMAX down in Broomfield or wherever it's at?
The
one that you tell me is like the best in the state.
So I don't know if it is anymore. So there's an IMAX in Denver. That's the Colorado Center. That's on I-25 and Colfax.
That's right.
No, not Colfax. Colorado Boulevard.
Oh yeah.
And it used to be a legitimate IMAX with a 70 millimeter, an actual 70 millimeter projector. And then recently, over the past couple of years, they got rid of the projector, and now it's all digital. And it's too loud, and it's just loud. That's all it is. It's just loud.
The Metrolux here in Loveland, I'm having the same experience with where you go and you're like, I like it, but like after a while, I'm like, bro, this is just loud.
Watching Dune and Romulus on that, I was like,
I mean,
more.
I did watch Dune and Romulus, Dune 2 specifically on there, and Romulus, and I watched it back to back. I thought that movie was fucking amazing.
Yeah.
But I think sometimes I feel like they're mixed the wrong way. I don't know who the fuck's mixing
Well,
these things.
it's just IMAX's whole thing is like loud bass, big picture, which was great 15 years ago, but now here's the thing. So the Alamo Drafthouse, they have a screen called the Big Show, where they have 2 4K projectors that are stacked so you can get a brighter picture. And they have full-on Dolby Atmos surround sound and seat shakers under the seat. And it's not nearly as loud as an IMAX, but it's better sound. It's like crystal freaking clear. So that was actually where I saw Mickey 17. And most of the time in theatrical mixes, they try to keep the dialogue center.
Yeah.
But in this movie, they were moving it all around the auditorium when people were moving around the screen. So there was a moment where somebody walked off camera and went into the surrounds, and like you could hear them, because Dolby Atmos isn't just like 5.1 channel based. No. You can mix discretely for sections of a theater. So like you could have like 6 different localized sections along the wall.
Nerd.
But you could hear the voice get to right and go right down the side of the theater, and I was like, oh, that was a really interesting sound movement. And there were stuff like you know, when they're out on the battlefield at one point, there's things like flying over your
Dude,
head.
spoiler!
And but it's literally things are like flying over your head, and you can hear pinpoint sounds like travel
Cool.
across the theater over the top of your
Damn,
head.
dude.
That's
I
where you
mean,
need extra screens so when you look, there's actually stuff.
yeah, you see the missile like flying over it.
There's like 8 cameras on set that are
There's-
just pointing for
Dude,
each.
yeah, or there's got like what's behind the cinematographer at all times. It's just like a guy eating a sandwich, like at a truck. Hey,
But
good shot.
for those of you who maybe are not familiar with the actual film exhibiting technology, look for a screen that has Dolby Atmos, because I promise you it will be the best sound you will get in a movie theater.
There you go. This comes from this guy. Now you got to follow his advice, because if there's anybody that collects like the newest stuff, knows about like DVD players, knows about how things should be mixed, it's this guy. I'm on the opposite end where I just collect garbage and I love just piles of videos and movies. And Shad would be like, I got the 4K version of this movie. And then, dude, we got to go into it because you keep bringing it up. Let's talk about these new releases from like Cameron and Fincher and what they're freaking screwing up.
Okay, so
Let's go.
I'm just gonna hit on James Cameron.
Yeah, let's go.
So
Heads up, James. Shad's coming for you.
So last year, James Cameron brought a whole collection of his movies out to 4K. Most of those movies are owned by 20th Century Fox, which is now owned by Disney. And with his deal with 20th Century Fox, he has the final say in the video presentation of his movies.
This is a key point in this, and I'm going to say that we're gonna start thinking about George Lucas in like 2001.
Yeah. So he went back and like he released True Lies and Aliens and what was the underwater one?
Abyss.
The Abyss. Which,
The underwater one.
sorry, I couldn't think of the name.
The most game changing.
The CGI
Right.
alone, dude. 89. Come on, Shad.
Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Whatever. So James messed it up.
So
I mean, did great.
So
No secrets here.
he took the negative scans, and they scanned everything from the actual negative film prints, and then he went back in and digitally started recolor grading all of the movies, and he started stripping grain because he wanted it to look like it was shot digitally, like Avatar. And I don't know if you know what happens when you start scrubbing away film grain, but you start taking away detail. Yeah. So now everything looks waxy and fake, and
Or like
then
whack. See?
and then he started using AI to fix shots that he wanted to correct. But the AI doesn't quite know how to do things in the background. So there's weird things, like people in the background are like morphed and warped, and it just looks weird. And then there's some things where he was like artificially trying to enhance detail on close-ups. And there's like shots in True Lies where it literally looks like somebody copy and pasted Arnold Schwarzenegger's face over his own body. I don't know how else to explain it. It looks real
An
bad.
old version of him?
Like
It's actually De Niro.
it looks real bad. And so like all the people who are collecting, a lot of his movies skipped Blu-ray altogether. The Abyss never came out on Blu-ray.
True Lies is a notorious one that
never came out on Blu-ray.
I got the VHS, bro.
And so people were excited until they started sending out review copies to people who are like do that for a living, and people started being like, man, these look terrible. These look awful. But the biggest offender, and I saved this for last, is Terminator 2.
Dude.
He literally
Boogaloo.
he literally went in and he recolor graded the entire movie to give it that blue, orange, teal that it never had before, ever. And
I mean, there was a blue to it, but like,
right, but
there
not
wasn't like this teal.
Yeah, like it's
it was
obnoxious.
like 8K or something. And now it's like, okay, all right.
So David Fincher,
We got to get a hold of this. Like, there's got to be a way for us to get a hold of this footage so we can show the cast. But Fincher might be up our butts for it.
Well, I mean, we could do like a members only stream, or because we were allowed to like watch movies and
Right.
stuff like that.
It'd be worth it.
Just like go.
Sean's onto something here. Stay tuned, you guys. Anyways, Sean.
so David Fincher took a page out of James Cameron's playbook,
Terrible playbook.
and for
It's
Panic
like the
Room,
James was the King James version of the Bible. King James Cameron film.
for Panic Room, he went back because that's another one that never got a Blu-ray release. That went right from DVD to 4K. So people were excited because now his movies are starting to come out on 4K. But he went back with Panic Room and he recolor graded everything. And he brought up all the shadows and all the things that made that movie moody so that you could see more detail. And then he did exactly what Cameron did. And he started scrubbing away the grain, which scrubs away the detail, which makes things look fake. I have so much love for those movies, and it pains me when I watch stuff like that because they're like ruining their own work.
Yeah. Do you think it's just like a money grab? Like, hey, people love these movies, so if we just release a new version, they're going to buy them. But we can get a bag.
But wouldn't that mean that you wouldn't even need to touch it? Like, you would need to touch it. You'd just be like, let's just resell them on 4K.
Yeah, it's a new version no matter what. So, like,
is that what they're selling them like? What is yours thing? Does it say like the Cameron fuck up version?
No, I mean my True Lies is just a regular like 4K.
But it's still like they don't tell you that you're about to tune in and watch something that.
Well, yeah, they'll say like sourced from the original negative or whatever.
Like tiny print. Like James pissed on this. Okay.
But I don't mean to shit on filmmakers that I love. Sorry.
He wants them.
But.
All.
But the filmmakers that I respect the most seem like they're always the filmmakers that want to go back and ruin what made something special.
Why do you think that is, Shad?
I honestly don't know.
The money. I kind of guarantee it's
like, can I do a new version?
Oh, we don't have to make a new movie, but we can just kind of like slightly upgrade this one. Upgrade,
yeah.
It's probably the people who love like motion flow, like applied on their TVs.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Weird, like,
dude.
I guarantee it.
That like. Oh, it's better because you can see all the mistakes the
filmmakers
but
that's not filmmaking. But like,
yeah, but it's probably those people who like that kind of like over hyper, like too high frame rate, too high clarity, too high look that is now just becoming kind of normal because every TV just has that as like the default when you buy it.
Did you guys see Avatar 2? Did you see it?
Yeah.
So like, I think my brain is registering it, but they're like 120 frame to like 60 frame, 40 frame. I'm like, dude, how do you even make a film? And adjust
but it's at least crisp. It doesn't have like the motion flow. It has like a weird like artifacting around.
It does
the motion, but yeah, like I think it's just a cheap way to sell another new collection of the same DVD.
And I agree with that.
I don't like it.
But so when
like Criterion can do it, they go through and rescan stuff and clean it up, but they hold the original value. But now it's at least
and weren't we talking about this earlier?
A cleaner, sharper look.
Where it's like they're taking the negatives and projecting them and like filming as opposed to like
scratches, and they're cleaning dust off and stuff like that to make it a cleaner,
version.
higher sharpness.
Just a cleaner version of the film, not like, hey, we should take this person and skin them.
Like
Put them to a wax.
We're talking about getting rid of like acne and stuff like that, and just making them wax figurines.
Yeah, right. We call Terminator. Like, I didn't like my jawline. Like, don't worry, we'll just erase it. So don't worry about it.
But on the flip side to that, though, the movies that I have on 4K from Steven Spielberg, like Jaws, looks like you're watching a film print, and it's beautiful. Like, the film grain is all there. There's a ton of detail. The color pops. Like, it looks absolutely beautiful. So does E.T. I'm not a huge fan of that movie, but the restoration that he did on E.T. looks absolutely fantastic. Raiders of the Lost Ark looks beautiful. So, like, filmmakers can go... They'll do that, and I'm sure there's a motivating factor there for money as well. But the difference is that when they're doing Spielberg's movies, they're taking the time to make it look like it would have looked when it was being projected on film at the time period it came out. When Cameron is doing it, or when Fincher is doing it, they are making it to look like we shot it yesterday on a digital camera, and that's the distinction.
Man, I wonder if dude, I'm popping a conspiracy theory up right now. So the only reason Spielberg's films would be that would look that good is if these other cats went out there and just messed it up. So there's like this like weird like, now Spielberg's like, I'm just not going to touch my films, and that's going to make them be legendary. There's like a weird thing going on there. Like, why would you mess them up? Like, the reason we loved those films is because we saw them so many times the way they were. Yet you want to go and change it. Like, I don't give a crap about the change.
And it could also be like, after watching, I don't know if you've seen it, the documentary Light and Magic on Disney.
Uh-uh.
Plus.
I haven't seen
It's like the entire start of Industrial Light and Magic. Like
Dope.
George
Oh, nice.
Lucas,
All
Spielberg,
these beginnings.
Cameron, all that kind
it.
of
Dude,
stuff.
Fincher was in there.
Where and like where they were coming up with ideas and testing them on shoots. So like The Abyss, they had never done water simulation, but they started shooting the movie first and came up with a solution afterwards. Same with Star Wars. They were shooting the practical sets. They didn't have any of the props made. The whole team spent $1 million+ on just props, half the budget at the time. They had $2 million to make the first Star Wars. They spent half of it on models. George shot all of the practical set stuff, came back to the U.S.
Oh,
They
yeah.
shot in England, and they had 2 shots done for $1 million. So it could be something where there's new tech coming out, and they're testing it kind of live, and maybe it's not quite there yet, and it just looks weird to us. But maybe it's something along the lines of like using AI to try to clean up film, and now it's just a new thing that it just doesn't quite. I don't know, looks wrong to our eyes or something, but they're just trying to push a new technology and like get it out there and like get funding behind it. Maybe part of that is like from the selling new versions of the DVD.
I think your
Blu-rays.
the point that you're making there is that during the time period when we come across in our own process, you're making the movie. You have a vision. The vision is never 100%. At the end of the day, if you have 100% vision, film out there, send it to us because I guarantee it's not the case. You start making a film. This is what I want it to look like. This is what we're going to get out of it. And because of budgetary restraints and oh my god, the prop didn't work out like we wanted. Blah blah blah. So you're right, dude. Those films, and I see why George Lucas did it with the films in 01 that everybody's mad about. Because he's like, I want it to look this way, but we're all used to it as our child. It's like you're taking away your childhood. But I see why they do it. The only hiccup here is that they're not like going in and like, oh, we needed like a better spaceship during the chase scene in Terminator 1. It's like, actually, I just didn't really like the complexion that the camera was creating. Like that you could have like fixed on
the
site.
film stock. That
Yeah, I was like, wait a second, bro. I was like, but that's something
we
you
used
could
the wrong lens.
Yeah, we used the wrong lens. Or like as we go back, you remember whenever they did The Hobbit and they messed it up and had to reshoot the entire thing because it wasn't registered in 3D projectors the right way. Like, dude, that happened, and I'm just like thinking to myself like, oh my god, like that's the kind of like hiccups that you worry about. But like when it's just like, oh, George wanted that character to fly better. It's like, bro, we get it, but like once the art is out of the canon, it's kind of ours now.
Just let it be.
Let it fly, bro. Let it just hit the ground where it hits the ground. Like,
Let it go.
let it go. Yeah. So I mean, movie nerd stuff aside here, we got a couple minutes left. I know that we cannot agree on a movie that we all three have seen that we really like, but I'm going to start with you, Shad. Tell me a movie of the last year, and it doesn't have to be came out in 2024. Just a film that you liked, like in the last that you hadn't seen yet, that was new to you in the last year.
Okay. I have 2. Can I do 2?
Yeah, let's do 2. Let's hear it.
So, the substance.
Shad's always got to do 2.
The Substance is fan-freaking-tastic, dude. That movie is so good. I was rooting for Demi Moore for the Oscar. But
Right, that was a tough one.
But that movie is great. Have either of you seen The
Oh,
Substance
I've
yet?
seen it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Watch
definitely on my
it.
list. It's still
awesome.
It's
in
fun. It's a
to
fun
play
movie.
right now on streamers, but as soon as it goes
Once it goes
somewhere.
somewhere. I'm about to just buy it, dude. I liked it enough to buy a copy of it. That's how good it was.
It's awesome. The other movie that I saw that I really loved that got absolutely no love at the Oscars was Challengers.
Challengers.
That movie is awesome.
I haven't seen that either. I've heard it's pretty good.
Oh,
Have
man,
you
it's
seen
Some-
it?
good.
I've seen a lot of behind the scenes and
Right.
trailer stuff on it.
Yeah.
It's on my list. It's available to me in one of the streaming. Yeah, I'll probably watch it this week because it's something. I need to watch.
The way that, and I don't remember the director's name now, but the way that he shot the movie, it just has an energy to it the entire time. Like the way the camera moves and the way that it's cut and edited and the tennis stuff is really well done. But then you have a really good story with these 3 characters that you kind of hate them all, but you kind of like them all as well. Where they're bad people, but you want to see one of them at least succeed in what they're trying to accomplish. And it was just it was really original and it was really well done and it was just a good time at the movies. And they don't make movies like that anymore. I know that's cliche to say, but they don't.
From what I've seen, it kind of seems like, what was that movie with Shia, the bow? That was a tennis player.
Holes? No, I'm just kidding.
It was like him and I forget who was the second on it, but it was like a really good like period piece tennis film of like a very well known kind of like rock star bad boy
I know what you're talking
player.
about.
But like watching some of the shots from Challengers, it kind of seems like it had that like same energy where it's just like, I don't know, just full of life. And I don't know. I'm excited to watch that one. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
Yeah, I loved it. It was awesome.
Well, while we're on you, Sean, what are some movies you're excited about, or that you saw last year that you never seen that you really liked?
I mean, I've talked about it a lot, but Vesper was just super inspiring to me. Like the storyline's super simple, so take that with a grain of salt. But just the overall style and the fact that it was very indie, kind of inspired this whole like wanting to do a sci-fi short film, because I saw how they did it and how low key, like you watch the behind the scenes and they have like a hanging tapestry of like, you know, like the forest tapestry thing that like every like college student had.
Yeah,
they shot in front of that and it looked like on like a something that only shoots 480p, like super low level, low budget, but just had such a beautiful look to it. Lots of practical effects and stuff in it. So that one really inspired me. And I've just been a fan of like just basically anything A24 has put out this last year. Just in that general same like indie vibes, but things like High Life I watched this last year. That had a lot of practical stuff for a sci-fi.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that movie. But I had the last like month or so, I don't think I've seen anything where I'm like, man, that was super cool, except for like Flow. Like Flow was pretty cool, and I think I'm kind of biased just because I do have a love for Blender and the fact that it was all done in a free program and not in like, you know, programs that cost you thousands of dollars every year for the subscription.
That's key.
So that was super inspiring to me this year.
Cool.
And then just, you know, rewatching the classics like Blade Runner over and over.
Classics, dude. All right. I got a couple here, and it's only because it's the first time that I'd seen them, but I guess I'll stick with one, just to stick with one. I saw this movie. So for February, Tina and I were just like watching love movies, and I had a bunch on my shelves that I just hadn't touched because it's not necessarily my first go-to. You just pick them up, and you're like, oh, that's a rom-com I'll get to eventually. I saw this Patrick Dempsey movie called Can't Buy Me Love. Have you seen this movie?
My God, yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
So I went into this movie thinking it was just going to be a regular, like, you know, just throwaway 80s movie. And, dude, I mean, I see Dempsey now completely different. Like, that movie has some really good zingers and fun things, and it has a different message than a lot of these movies from the 80s. I don't know what it was, man. It was like they were doing like these like home ec thing where like there's like 6 people in a classroom doing a thing and they were all talking to each other, so everybody was like intertwined in that. They did these like, he was super cool and he was like doing this like dance move up on like this wall. Everybody's like, yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. And I don't know what it was, dude. Like that's the kind of stuff that I love about movies where like they're just telling like to get footage of something and like just say stuff and they just like use the line. I'm like, yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, because they just like, we got the footage, let's use it. We need some filler. And they just like dancing on a wall. But like it had a really good message to it for a lot of the garbage that I watched. Like there's so much like The Holiday. God, what a boring movie. I mean, whatever. Like we
Classic.
Classic.
Or like, but like Can't Buy Me Love, 1987. It nails it. It does a better job, in my opinion, to echo high school a little bit better. Still unrealistic, but like in a better realm. Like where the kid that stands up to the bully is actually being heard because people don't actually want to be assholes, you know? Good movie. If you haven't seen it out there, Can't Buy Me Love, Patrick Dempsey nailing it. Like, what is it? He's Dr. McLovin now?
That's Bridget Fonda's in that, right?
No.
No?
Not you think about it as the lead girl?
Yeah.
No, it's this other girl that like didn't really do much after those movies or anything.
I might be thinking of a different.
But yeah, that was the first time for me, y'all, and I think that's funny to talk about. But yeah, is it?
I've recently, I don't know if you noticed, but I started doing Letterboxd again.
Yeah, I saw that
last night.
Yeah,
because I'm just like I keep losing track. And I'm like, This might be
That's
better
kinda
for the podcast.
that's what I'm
because
doing.
I forget what I watched.
Yeah.
But I watched the new-ish Hellboy last night.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like,
Actually, no, I saw that for the first time in the last 6 months. Have you seen that one?
No.
Well, honestly,
the Crooked Man.
did you like it?
I mean, it's a Hellboy.
It's a Hellboy
Hellboy
movie.
movies always seem like the prosthetics don't quite work, and
Right.
like it's kind of campy. But I
Like
think
all of them
that's
do.
kind of the point. I
Right.
don't know.
I mean,
I never watched or listened to the comics or read the comics or anything like that, so I don't have like a passion for it like some
Right,
people
right.
do.
I think with the new Hellboy movie, like I wasn't excited about seeing it either. I'm like, whatever, dude. And then I just had it come through.
It just popped up on Hulu.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, I'll watch it. But what I feel about it is like I didn't read the comics either, but I feel like just watching that movie, you're like, oh, they're kind of like hinting at a bunch of stuff that is gonna if they had made like 2 more movies, which they are not or ever will, like are kind of a setup to be like, oh, there's so many things in this universe. So it was like a really big like world building film. Like the house that's walking around that he's falling out of and stuff, that's like got chicken legs. I really enjoyed that stuff. And I was like, oh man, I kind of wish the first Hellboy kind of addressed a lot of these things, even though I like the octopus gods in the sky or whatever. But what it was, I think it's the David Harbinger aspect of it. This dude's in Stranger Things. He's just kind of doing his thing. All of a sudden, he's Hellboy. And the trailers that I saw, it was like he was like, ah! And you're just like, oh my god, is this just like a barbarian dumbass? Like, what's going on here? But like in the movie, they do a better job of like kind of addressing a lot of things. Still not the greatest movie. Still not better than the Del Toro version because he just like did so much with it, you know.
I think you guys are thinking of 2 different movies because David Harbour was only in the one movie from like 2000. What was it? 19.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
And there's a brand new one that just came out on
last year.
Hulu.
Wait, there's another one.
Sean's
There's
talking.
another
Yeah,
one?
Sean's talking about
What?
the brand
so
new
did
one.
you see the Harbinger one?
I think I did with Marty like in theater, and that was it.
So what's this new one? Is it like actually like a noir, like the original comics?
It's just like
It's just another
it's a
Hellboy.
fairly basic Hellboy movie.
Fucking-
But I was just like, fuck. There was one that came out last year. Like,
Yeah, so I'm not aware of that.
yeah, so that's why I popped it on. 'Cause I had no
I
idea.
think that was the case where they made it and they intended for it to be theatrical, and then they were like, "Yeah, we can't release this in theaters."
This ain't gonna make any money. All right, whatever.
just straight to Hulu.
Straight to Hulu. Man, a term we wouldn't have been saying 20 years ago. Straight to Hulu. Straight to
Real
video.
quick, before we wrap this,
Yeah.
I just want to say a movie that I'm looking forward to a lot. So you're talking about A24 and Paul Rudd's Death of a Unicorn.
Oh
That
yeah,
movie
I've
looks
seen the trailer for
awesome.
that. Yeah.
It's like there's moments in there where I feel like it's like a monster movie but with unicorns, where they're like trapped, like they're like trapped somewhere, and like you see the unicorn like walk past the window and it growls like a T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my god, that's so cool.
It just looks so silly.
I'm practicing a little bit of that. I don't know if you've ever seen the animated series Crepopolis. It's like Dan Harmon's new
Oh
thing.
yeah. I haven't seen it yet.
There's
but
a
I
whole
know.
episode about unicorns and how they're like predatorial beings, and the horns are actually stingers. So they sting you and paralyze you and bring you back to the cave and like rip you apart. So like I thought that was kind of a fun take. But I've also seen some like initial Instagram posts of like how people hated Death of a Unicorn.
But
Really?
but here's the question: is there other
Some,
people that are saying they loved it? Because usually when it's hated and
Yeah.
loved, I ride that line. I'm like, I bet you I'm going to enjoy
It's just
this
the
movie.
random stuff that we follow on the Nerd Rat Instagram.
Yeah.
I just saw it popping up, like it just completely failed at what it was trying to do. But I'm also like,
Yeah, I'll give it a
I
try.
feel like a lot of people just kind of hate on A24 films just because they are the weird ones.
Yeah.
Trying new things, and that's why I love.
Or they hold them at such a high standard that once they're disappointed by someone,
Yeah.
they're like, oh.
But it's like I saw a graph recently of like every A24 film and like the recent like big movies like Red One and things like that. Like $50 million was paid to The Rock, and all 4 of these movies were made for that entire budget, and these are all like super good movies.
They're
And then
good
like
movies.
$25 million was paid to so and so for this other movie for Disney, and then like these 6 films were made by A24 for the same amount.
The same
It's
amount.
like, okay, yeah, maybe they don't land, but they're trying some cool storylines and doing some cool shit.
I feel like a little bit of that, like Blumhouse was kind of that way. They kind of fell off, but Blumhouse was always the like horror movie studio that was like, here's $3 million, go make a movie, and they would let the creators basically do whatever they wanted. And I know recently they haven't really been in the conversation. They kind of fell off.
Yeah.
But there was a while there where Blumhouse was just cranking out incredible movies that were like macro budgets compared to like the big franchise horror movies that were coming out.
You know, and also since we're in this vein and we're still rolling this, guys, I got huge opinions about this movie, but there's a second movie that came out by the director, Perkins. Long Legs, that came out like early, like July of last year, and then that director just put out Monkey, I believe is what it's called. Have either of you seen either of these movies?
No, but I heard it's not.
You probably heard that from me, bro.
Oh, maybe I did.
All right, here's the deal out there, guys. Whatever you feel about these movies, honestly, in my opinion, Long Legs was just a fancy, like, Twilight Zone episode or Outer Limits, more like a Twilight Zone meets an Outer Limits. So like the premise of it and then how it wraps up, I'm just like, yeah, I've seen this before, and not only have I seen it, but like it wasn't done well when they did it the first 7 times. I'm like, this is so boring. And now he's got this Monkey one, which is a Stephen King like made film. Like he probably bought the script for $1, that whole thing, and he made it. And everyone I've talked to, I've asked him a series of questions, and I know for a freaking fact this Monkey movie is just a very high tech, higher end, not high tech because that would be the Black Mirror, more like just a higher production value freaking Twilight Zone. And to me, like I watched all of those a million times with my father growing up, that anytime somebody just like, oh, the end of this movie is not a twist. It's just this thing that's been happening that we kind of twist. I'm just like, yeah, that's freaking boring. It doesn't do anything for me. And yet they won't put out cool sci-fis. They're like, no, we don't want to invest in Neuromancer, but we will put out 15 Stephen King remakes. I'm like, what the frick is going on?
And let me just preface this real quick by saying if you love these movies,
Go fuck
amazing
yourself.
for you.
Just kidding. Yeah, amazing for you.
Everyone's allowed to have their own like opinion.
But I have the microphone right now, so
but Jesse
mine
has the
matters.
microphone.
And if you do like them, like and subscribe.
And if you like them, hate me, like the channel.
You should hate subscribe
or,
to Jesse.
Hate subscribe. Just hate subscribe.
Hate fuck that like.
Yeah, do it, I dare you. I don't even want it. But here's the deal, though. We would love to hear some debates. If you are out there and you think that our opinions are trash, like throw them at us because we want to have this conversation. We love movies so much that the conversation can go a million ways, and the fact that we're having a conversation is a joyous thing. So, guys, we're signing off for this episode. Thank you, Shad, for joining us for the last couple here. Sean, you got anything to add to this? All right, cut this thing right here. All right, cool. All right, so
Should we sign off the
yeah, let's sign off.
stream?
Okay, all right, y'all. So we're signing off the stream here. Thanks for tuning in. If you're out there, Beanzo showing up, bro. What's up,
He's still at
dude?
work, but he
Still at work. He still showed up, dude.
Gave us $2.
Yeah, dude. I gotta get on that
Legend.
cast, dude. We gotta
Yeah.
get on that cast. He's popping off. I'd like to do something with him, kind of spread our wings a little bit. But if y'all tuned in, thanks for being here. If you have any requests for us for another topic, shoot us a message. Hit us up. Anything else? Shad, you want to say anything to the fans out there? Where to find you? I think he's on MySpace. OnlyFans.
I guess.
Send stuff to my P.O.
P.O. box.
P.O. box.
Dude, I do smoke
I have a
signals.
couple of bank accounts in the Cayman if you feel like.
And if you want to
reaching
buy
out
me a
that
coffee, here's my QR code.
I mean, I guess the easiest way to find me is probably just through Nerd Rat.
There you go. Well, stay tuned to us, y'all. You'll see us more often.